Forces Special Powers Act from Jammu and Kashmir. AFSPA, remember, was a law implemented in the 1990s, legislation that gives legal cover to the armed forces operating in what are known as disturbed areas from prosecution. This was at a time when terrorism was at its peak in the valley. The entire law and order machinery had collapsed. Over 3 decades later now, has the time come for it to be removed completely from Jammu and Kashmir? Well, the call to repeal the law has come loud and clear from various quarters over the last 3 decades, including many judicial commissions. Is it merely about political will though? The jury is still out on that, but many would agree that the time is ripe for this decision to be made. Does that mean normalcy has returned to Jammu and Kashmir? Can those politicians who question the Modi government's claims on a Naya Kashmir ignore the facts? Because many say the facts are there for everyone to see. We see the kind of boom that tourism has seen in Jammu and Kashmir. The economy is doing extremely well. There are no hartals anymore. Stone pelting is almost nil. Can those be ignored? But does that mean all is well? Certainly not. There is much left to be desired. But will the repeal of AFSPA be the first remedial step in bringing Jammu and Kashmir on par with any other state in the country? Well, Home Minister Amit Shah said that the government plans to withdraw troops from J&K soon, though he did not fix a timeline for it. But what gives the centre this confidence to bite that bullet if they will? Amit Shah said that without the support of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, comprehensive changes could not take place. He appealed to the youth of Kashmir, especially the youths, to not fall prey to the conspiracies of Pakistan and its stooges. But here's why the government is confident, and here's why Union Home Minister made that declaration. He says there is no trust deficit in Jammu and Kashmir cops anymore. There was a time when Jammu and Kashmir police could not be trusted. There was a trust deficit, but now they're leading operations, which is why troops will soon be leaving Jammu and Kashmir, said the Union Home Minister. He said we now trust the Jammu and Kashmir police with internal security, which is why AFSPA could be removed as well. Terror being wiped out, the stone pelting has now reduced, is what he pointed to. Remember, this is something that the centre has also put on record in Parliament. Union Home Minister Amit Shah also then went on to say that restoring full democracy in Jammu and Kashmir is an assurance that the Modi government has made to the people of the Union Territory, and they very well will deliver on it. Well, the critics and the political rivals of the BJP don't agree. Now, abrogation of Article 370 was the first step towards Jammu and Kashmir's real integration, says the central government. So what has changed in Jammu and Kashmir in the last 5 years? Remember, the abrogation happened in 2019. Here's what the government has gone on record, especially as they tabled these details in the Parliament. 2,654 stone pelting incidents were reported in 2010. In 2023, there were 0 that were reported. At least 132 organized strikes or hartals were organized back in 2010. 0 strikes in 2023, 13 years later. The centre has also cited the decline in terror-related incidents. There has been a 70% decline is what the central government states. The Home Ministry, which put out these facts, also then went on to say there has been at least an 81% reduction in civilian deaths in Jammu and Kashmir. 48% decline in death of security forces has been witnessed since 2019 to now, since the abrogation of Article 370. Is that the first step? Are we now closer to AFSPA being removed as well, like the Union Home Minister says? Now, while the calls for revocation have been around for several years, but the decision is not an easy one. Those in favour of the decision say that the time is here. Normalcy is returning to Jammu and Kashmir, even by the admission of the centre. The figures on hartals and stone pelting that I just put out, that is sign that J&K is ready for more. But those against the revocation or the repeal of the AFSPA say that this is too early for such a critical call to be made, given the Union Territory's critical location. Those in favour point out that terror crackdown is on in full swing. Pakistan's desperate tactics are receding, is what they say. The fact that stone pelting has reduced to almost nil calls for a relook of the law. But is Pakistan-backed terror a thing of the past? No. Cross-border infiltration attempts are still being made, especially as far as trafficking of drugs is concerned from across the border. The removal of AFSPA after 34 years was also sensitize the forces, is the argument that's being made. The forces have often been accused of crossing the line under the protection of this particular law. That perception could change, it should change, is also what many experts believe. On the other hand, we also have those that say that we're battling a threat from China as well. It's not just our western frontiers. China is needling us on the eastern front. It's also looking to arm Pakistan against India. Now, even though a complete revocation is an age-old demand, it can't be done in a knee-jerk manner, is what experts caution. A phase-wise removal is required to gauge the situation. That is something that the arguments across the board are about. Now, Jammu and Kashmir appears to be standing on the cusp of a paradigm shift. That's what many believe. But for things to change, for things to become irreversible, challenges must also be mitigated. They must be paid attention to so that normalcy that we speak of is substantive. It's not just superficial. There are many challenges and all of them are being tackled at every single level. Especially as far as trafficking of drugs and arms is concerned from across the border. We've seen the kind of drone sightings that have happened over the last several months. The type of activity that has happened along the border of Punjab as well. Incomplete shutdown of terror finance rings is something that we still have to look into. The crackdown continues there, but terror financing has been deep-rooted for several decades. That is something that needs to be tackled as well. Radicalization and entrenchment in admin ranks, that is something that needs to be looked at as well. That is what we're now looking at a challenge. Tracking and punishing hybrid terrorists. These are terrorists that will carry out a certain attack and then just mix into the general populace. That is why they're so hard to track. That is a big challenge. Electoral democracy at the assembly level is also something that is required. That is a criticism that political rivals of the BJP have often made, that all the tall claims of normalcy that the government makes fall flat because they will not hold elections. That is the argument that both the NC and the PDP have also been making. So is this really the time to repeal AFSPA? And now that the Union Home Minister has said so, are we looking at a timeline? Are they finally going to bite that bullet? We open that up tonight.
मेरे साथ दोनों हाथ उठाइए। जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस के हवाले ही जम्मू कश्मीर का कानून और व्यवस्था की स्थिति होगी और धीरे धीरे ट्रूप बैरक में जाएंगे। ये हमारा एक डिजाइन बना हुआ नॉर्मल स्थिति हो ही रही है और बहुत स्पीडीली इस पर विचार किया जाएगा। नजदीक के भविष्य में विचार किया जाएगा।
इलेक्शन को देखते हुए जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों के साथ अब अफस्पा के मामले में भी एक झूठा वादा और धोखा देने का जो है सिलसिला किया जा रहा है।
370 हटने के बाद हालात में काफ़ी तब्दीली आई है। आज हालात बहुत बेहतरी की तरफ जा रहे हैं और कहीं भी स्टोन पेल्टिंग नहीं हो रही है, कहीं टेररिस्ट मूवमेंट कम हुई है बहुत से इलाकों में।
Joining me on this broadcast, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Sanju Verma, Advocate Nilofer Masood, leader of the National Conference. Spokesperson of the PDP, Mohit Bhan, joins us, and former bureaucrat Farooq Renzu Shah also with me. Let me begin by asking Sanju Verma. We have the Union Home Minister saying that we're considering, we're mulling removal of AFSPA. Is that the bullet that we are going to be seeing the centre bite anytime soon?
You know, first and foremost, Poonam, thank you for putting out that comprehensive primer with respect to data on how we stand and where we stand with respect to Jammu and Kashmir. The limited answer to your very pertinent query is yes, going forward, there is every intent on the part of the Modi government to ensure that AFSPA is a thing of the past. But whether it will happen by way of a blanket removal of AFSPA or whether it will happen in phases, that remains to be seen, because if I have to go as per what happened in the northeast, don't forget that, Manipur was declared a disturbed area for the longest time in 1980 for the first time, Tripura for the first time in 1997, Assam for the first time in 1990, Nagaland for the first time in 1995. And I am told, Poonam, as you and me speak, that, in large parts of northeast, the AFSPA has actually been removed. For instance, in Assam, out of 33 districts, AFSPA is now applicable in less than 20 districts. Similarly, out of 15 districts in Nagaland, it is applicable only in 8 districts. Similarly, in 26 districts of Arunachal Pradesh, it was earlier applicable in a blanket manner, but that is now limited to only 8 or 9 districts. So I think what the Modi government has done in the Northeast has proven to be successful. Do away with AFSPA, but rather than blanketly removing it, do it in phases so that the security aspect, is not compromised. And at the same time, the suo motu powers that the armed forces and the paramilitary forces have, by way of the AFSPA Act dating back to 1958, those powers are also curtailed. So I think there will be some kind of a give and take to ensure that all the stakeholders in Jammu and Kashmir, they're happy at the end of the day, because that is exactly what we intended to do with abrogation of Article 370, and that is precisely what we've done. In fact, don't forget that last December, in December 2023, the J&K reorganization bill was passed with a thumping majority in the Lok Sabha, and for everybody who says, "Arey, election kab honge Jammu Kashmir mein?" So please, understand that the Supreme Court categorically told the Modi government that by the 30th of September 2024, elections in Jammu and Kashmir need to be held, and we are going to comply with the Supreme Court diktat on that count.
Sure, there's still time for September, so why raise the bogey of no elections? Nilufar Masood, why does the NC, why does Umar Abdullah say this is linked to the 2024 general elections? There's a sense of whipping up sentiment, and that's all that the BJP is trying to do. Nothing is going to come out of this, is what Umar Abdullah said. Why is that? Why do you not take the BJP's intent, as Sanju Verma put, on the face value?
Well, Poonam, I'll say here that I hope that this is not the political gimmick, as they had already done in the Ladakh also. They had promised it that they will be given the 6th schedule, but unfortunately after elections that was refused, and till date they are the people of the Ladakh, they are on the streets fighting for the 6th schedule. Now when we talk about the removal of the AFSPA, if you remember in the year 2011, when Umar Abdullah was CM of Jammu and Kashmir, he had sought, in fact, put the proposal that there should be phased-wise revocation of this AFSPA. But unfortunately, that faced very stiff resistance from the army, because they never wanted that it should be revoked at that point of time. But even if it is done today, with a true heart, we believe that anything which is in the welfare of the people, we are with the people, and we want everything which will be done by the government of India for the welfare of people. Jammu Kashmir National Conference will be very happy for that thing. And another thing which I want to say, that we cannot say that whatever has been said by the Amit Shah on 5th August 2019 on the floor of the parliament, that has never been done. And we doubt the credibilities on this ground, because of the reason, if things are very fine, why didn't they hold the elections simultaneously with the parliamentary elections? On one way they are saying that there is normalcy, we want phase-wise revocation of the this AFSPA, and on the other side, when the elections are to be taken place in the Jammu and Kashmir, they are overdue. The elections are never been, they are saying that we'll wait for the September. So these two stands cannot.
But ma'am, that's a deadline that the Supreme Court of this country has said. The election commission
that could have been done together.
The election commission has also, the election commission which conducts these elections has also come out and said that this is something that they're looking into. They do have a timeline in mind. The election commission's team was in Jammu and Kashmir trying to assess what the security situation was like ahead of the Lok Sabha elections as well.
Let me remind you, Poonam, when these two elections, when the last statement was made, it was said that these two elections cannot be held simultaneously because of the security reasons. And now when the government of India is coming with a stand that everything is fine here, we are going for the revocation of the AFSPA, then where does that stand go? That's my point.
Can I quickly answer that?
Yes, Sanju Verma, 30 seconds for your rebuttal before I get in the other two gentlemen.
Thank you. Let's be very clear. If you look at the chronology of events post the abrogation in 2019, the Delimitation Commission headed by former Judge Ranjana Desai, they had, more than 3 dozen sittings. And finally, the report was made public only in May 2022, whereby the number of seats in Kashmir division was raised by 1, and the number of seats in Jammu division were raised by 6. Taking the total tally to 90, and then the president, was given powers that he or she can recommend 2 more seats, one for a person who's been displaced, from POK, and another should be preferably a Kashmiri migrant, a woman, and then 9 more seats were added by way of scheduled tribes, who will now have the right to even stand for elections, not just vote. So the limited point I'm making is that between the Delimitation Commission's recommendations in May 2022 And December 2023, a whole lot has happened by way of adding number of seats to the Jammu division,
Sure.
the Kashmir division, ensuring that scheduled tribes get their right to franchise, ensuring that a person from POK
So the point you're trying
is
to
also
make is
given
that electoral
representation.
democracy is not in a limbo as the opposition tries to make it look or make it sound. There have been steps that have been taken, and gradually we'll see elections happen there as well. Farooq Renzo Shah, do you agree with the claims that the government has been making? There is data to prove on record. The government says that yes, terror has gone down, stone pelting has reduced. There are absolutely no more hartals anymore. We've seen the kind of tourism boost that Jammu and Kashmir has seen. It has been the highest ever in independent India the last year.
Yeah, this is very obvious. You can see if you come today also, there are around 60, 70 flights per day. You don't get tickets. When tickets have gone, even 20,000 beyond, such as the rush to arrival and departure from Kashmir. So that is the indication that there is a positive change. Number second, as far as AFSPA is concerned, who were the beneficiaries of AFSPA? I think AFSPA was being used to make a demon out of the army of India by the local parties. They were cashing it like 96, out of 3 lakh constituency per constituency. Only 100 votes were casted and one became the MLA because they were getting benefit of depriving the people to vote. It has happened. They were trying in 1987 wave, which was against the local parties who really maneuvered exodus of funding also and criminalized it and surcharged and never thought that before holding any election, let all Kashmiri parties be brought back. So there should be, I think, not only SAPA is a very good decision, and the benefit will be directly taken by the central government parties this time because of the development approach also. And there is some way when in 90s, when Mr. Modi came to Lal Chowk, there were not even 3 Kashmiris to receive him because of the fear. And today, you have seen more than 50,000 people attended his rally.
Sure.
It means there is a way where people are not against India. They were never from 1947 against them. Even they want that Gilgit-Baltistan and POK should be brought back because we are the total territory of 222,000 square kilometers. But these political parties have a vested interest. Like you remember once Mahbub said that why should not army shower the bullets? Are they going these children to get milk and toffees from them? So because they are really jealous, if army and people of Kashmir become friends as they were before 89. They
Sure.
have a vested interest to have the army presented as the villain of Kashmiri people. So
Sure, that's a narrative that was being set by several parties in Jammu and Kashmir is what many believe. That's also something that the BJP believes. But Mohit Bhan, why do the PDP and the NC have questions over the intent of the BJP or of the central government? You were in power with the BJP in Jammu and Kashmir. This removal of AFSPA was something that was a part of your common minimum program with the BJP back then.
Thank you, Poonam, finally that you got time to ask me this question. Absolutely, we are not against it. Finally, some sort of senses prevailed in the Home Minister and the central government that they are discussing and they are evaluating to, take off AFSPA from Jammu and Kashmir. This has been a written agreement in the alliance, in the agenda of alliance between the PDP-BJP government, which lasted for almost 3 years in Jammu and Kashmir. And if at all there is an intent to really take off AFSPA from Jammu and Kashmir, PDP is absolutely welcoming this decision and we are not against this. But where the apprehensions come from, let me come to that. Why are we apprehensive about the claims which are being made by the central government and then we question them, is because they have been in the repetitive mode of giving us these jumlas of 5 lakh jobs and 15 lakh rupees and the 5 trillion economy and zero terrorism in Kashmir, return of Kashmiri Pandits, the jobs in Jammu and Kashmir, wherein everything is happening in reversal to all the promises they are making. The Kashmiri Pandits still are, or the Kashmiri Hindus, the targeted killings are still continuing in Jammu and Kashmir. Haphazardly, there is no end to it. Every job scam from 2000, every job, the interview which has come for the students or the unemployed youth of Jammu and Kashmir, it has been marred with a scam since 2019. The terrorism, you are saying, you are quoting numbers and saying that this is down, that is down. There is no doubt that law and order is in control, but law and order does not equate to peace. There is no peace. The law and order is in control. I completely agree with you. Yes, the law and order is in control, but it is not peace. Peace would be when you don't find the army men guarding the roads and streets of Kashmir every 10 feet or every 15 feet. So because there is no peace, there is so much of army here. Because there is no peace, there is so much of army on every 15 feet on the roads. Because there is no peace, all the convoys, all the passenger vehicles on the highway are stopped for every after every 10 kilometers, every 12 kilometers on the highway. Because there is no peace, there are no assembly elections.
And many within the armed forces, time and again, Mohit Bhan have said...
Just a second. See, you were talking, I didn't interrupt you. Sorry, you have to give me time to speak.
Go ahead, you made your point.
It is no monologue, Poonam.
It is not a monologue, I agree.
I have not made my point, I am speaking. It is no monologue,
go ahead.
You must be the anchor in the channel, but it is no monologue happening here. You have to allow me the time to speak.
I have allowed you your time, sir. Please finish. Yes, 30 seconds more, sir. Go ahead.
If you get a spokesperson of PDP on board, then you have to start learning.
Absolutely, sir. I didn't interrupt you for the first 2 minutes that you were speaking.
We are not coming on channels just to listen to your monologue. We are coming to your channels to speak what is happening on ground.
And you spoke your mind, sir.
How the people of Kashmir are suffering, how the people of Jammu are suffering, how the people of Rajouri are suffering. Have you ever checked the mood of the people of Rajouri and Punch? Have you ever checked the mood of the people of Kashmir? Somebody was some ex-bureaucrat was quoting the Prime Minister's rally on your channel. 8,000 employees from across the state of Jammu and Kashmir were brought like donkeys in transport.
Sure, you made those allegations.
Do you claim
Mohit Bhan, you made those allegations in the past as well.
Do you claim that is the popularity of a rally where you have to drag employees at 4 a.m. in the morning?
You've made those allegations in the past as well, sir. When the rally of the Prime Minister happened at the beginning of this month.
AFSPA is a matter which is involving every
Yes, I agree. It's an important matter and politics must not happen on it.
About AFSPA.
I agree.
So please don't make a mockery of it by quoting these unpleasant numbers which don't substantiate on the ground.
They can't be unpleasant just because they're unpleasant to you, sir.
My simple request to you is that in case the government is serious about it, we are wholeheartedly welcoming it. We are more than happy to extend whatever support the government requires.
Sanju Verma, both the NC and the PDP. I get your point, sir. I get your point, sir, that you welcome the removal of AFSPA. Sanju Verma, the intent is what is under question, but the fact that the BJP wants to remove it is something that all political parties in Jammu and Kashmir are on board with. This is something that the PDP was pushing for, is what they say when you were in government back 10 years ago as well.
Poonam, now I did not heckle anyone. I need to make a couple of very quick points.
Yes, go ahead.
I've already spoken on AFSPA, but since the PDP panelists made some allegations, it's my turn to give him a rebuttal with facts. When you sit here and say that this was a jumla, that was a jumla, it took 30 years for the Indian tricolor to be hoisted at the Lal Chowk in Srinagar. And I'm so
absolutely wrong, Sanju, absolutely wrong. Indian tricolor was hosted every 15th August, every 26th January in Kashmir. The sitting chief ministers have taken salute of that. You are misleading the nation on that.
Mohit Bhan, you had your time. Mohit Bhan, you had your time. You made some. Mohit Bhan, you put some.
lying through your teeth on a national TV. You are lying through your teeth on a national channel.
Let Sanju Verma respond, Mohit Bhan. We cannot have a debate like this. You made your point. Let her respond. I'll come back to you. I'll give you your time. Do not worry.
Either you have to correct Sanju Verma or you are part of this propaganda. You are part
I
of this.
am sorry, sir. You cannot accuse me of being part of any propaganda. You've made some claims. She's countering you, and you can continue countering her. I'm not stopping you from doing that, am I? Let her have her say, and I will come back to you, Mohit Bhan.
Thank you. Poonam, can I please?
Yes, Sanju Verma, go ahead. Mohit Bhan, I'm giving her a minute. You can get your minute after that and rebut what she has to say, but let her finish her point. Sanju Verma, go ahead.
No, he spoke for 4 minutes. I need my 2 minutes.
Yes,
Please
go
don't
ahead,
answer
go ahead,
immediately.
go ahead, Sanju Verma. I have
I'm
limited
speaking.
time on this debate. Go ahead, make your
Yes.
point.
Thank you, Poonam. Don't rush me. I know I have limited time. First and foremost, I repeat, the last time the tricolour was hoisted, it was done by the likes of a very brave Murli Manohar Joshi. It was done by the likes of an Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And then after 30 years hence, it has been done under the aegis of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Chenali Nashri Tunnel, the work on that started in 2011. It was completed in 2017 by the Modi government. The entire size of Jammu and Kashmir's economy was less than 1 lakh crore. Today, the size of Jammu and Kashmir's economy is close to 2 lakh crore. The 7th Pay Commission recommendations were not applied to Jammu and Kashmir. Today, they are applicable. The Dowry Prohibition Act was not applied to Jammu and Kashmir. Today, it is. The Indian Penal Code was not applied to Jammu and Kashmir. Today, it is. The Indian Contract Act of 1872 was not applied to Jammu and Kashmir. Today, it is. More than 30,000 Kashmiri Pandits have been rehabilitated. Stone pelting incidents are down by 93.7%.
They have already started.
Incidents are down by 81%.
Nilufar Masood, I will give you your time as well. Let's keep this civil, please. Sanju Verma, finish your
Can I
point.
please finish?
Yes, go ahead.
Prime Minister Modi announced a 80,000 crore development package in 2015, and more than 94% of that package has not only been allocated but has been disbursed as well. In 2021, Prime Minister Modi announced a 28,000 crore GST-linked package, and that is going to be applied over the next 8 to 10 years. You have direct flights now between Srinagar and the UAE. और सबसे ज़्यादा खुशी की बात तो ये है, there are no second class citizens. There are no permanent citizens and temporary citizens. Anybody can buy property in Jammu and Kashmir, and if a Kashmiri woman marries somebody who's not a Kashmiri, she will not lose inheritance rights. Her children will not lose inheritance rights. That is called equality in the truest sense. आप लोगों ने तो permanent citizens, permanent residents, temporary residents करके discrimination को नई हद तक ले गए थे आप.
Sure, let's bring this. Sure, you've made your point, Sanju Verma. I need to get in Mohit Bhan and Nilufar Masood as well. But I want to bring this discussion back, Mohit Bhan, to the removal of AFSPA. Was there no political will? That's also a question many ask. The PDP has been in power in the past in Jammu and Kashmir.
So Poonam, will you give me time?
I will come to you, Nilufar Masood.
रिफ्यूजी लेकर आएंगे. आप इस देश को धोखा दे रहे हैं, हम इस देश को धोखा नहीं दे रहे हैं. आप इस देश की आंखों के अंदर धूल झोंक रहे हैं.
Sanju Verma, you had your time. Let him finish, please. I asked you one question, Mohit Bhan, about political will. Did the PDP lack it?
आपके जुमले जो हैं वो दुनिया के सामने रोज-रोज नंगे हो रहे हैं. आपके दुनिया के सामने जो जुमले हैं वो सामने वो बेपर्दा हो रहे हैं. आप उसका ध्यान कीजिए. आप सीए की बात करते हैं. आप अपने घर के रिफ्यूजीज को तो पहले सेटल कर लीजिए. उनके जुमले कब पूरे करेंगे? उनके बच्चे आज 33 साल हो गए उनके उनको घर से बेघर रह रहे. संजीव वर्मा, आप अपने घर में एसी में लगाकर बैठेंगे. आपको क्या पता है जप्ती के अंदर एक रूम के अंदर रहना किसको कहते हैं? आपको क्या पता है 50 डिग्री के अंदर रहना किसको कहते हैं? आपको क्या पता है सांप बिच्छुओं के बीच में रहना किसको कहते हैं? आप घर में एसी के कमरे में बैठकर भाषण दे रही हैं. आप उन रिफ्यूजीज से जाकर मिलिए. आप चलिए मेरे साथ, मैं आपको दावत देता हूँ. आप चलिए मेरे साथ, मैं दावत देता हूँ आपको. मैं दावत देता हूँ आपको.
Okay, Sanju Verma and Mohit Bhan, we seem to have digressed. We're speaking of the removal of AFSPA. Is the time right for it to know? And was there political will so far? Now, Nilufar Masood, you had a point to make, but I want to ask you the same question that I asked the PDP as well, that I asked Mohit Bhan. The NC has been in power in the state. The NC's ally has been in power at the centre. You've been alliance partners. Omar Abdullah has been a minister at the centre. Was there no political will then? If you question the intent of the central government now on removal of AFSPA, why was it not done all along?
I have already said that in the year 2011, it was Mr. Omar Abdullah Sahab, when he was the chief minister at that time. He had in fact sent the proposal to the concerned army also. They were asked to see the workable and the feasible things so that it could be removed. AFSPA could be removed in a phased manner. But that faced very stiff resistance from the army at that time. And I have already said that if we are contributing, if we are counting the contribution of the parties, as has been said by the Sanju Verma here, she is very expert in juggling the numbers. You could see from path to roads, from schools to universities, from laws, from land laws to big landed abolition act, and so many things which have been done by the Jammu Kashmir National Conference. You cannot say that it is one party that after abrogation everything is being done by them, as if nothing has happened. It was
Sure, but as far as removal of AFSPA is concerned, like you said, that you had the political will to do it, but the armed forces, the army was not in favor of it. So if that is a situation that arises even now, then why raise questions only on the BJP's intent? This is not a decision that has to be taken only politically, isn't it? All stakeholders have to be taken on board, including the military, including the armed forces.
See, it ought to have been done, but once we are seeing that normalcy is there, then why not to go with the abrogation of the AFSPA?
So I'm glad you agree that normalcy is there. Normalcy is there. Elections will be held before September deadline is what the Election Commission has also come out and confirmed. Unfortunately, I've completely run out of time. Unfortunately, I have to wrap this up at this moment. Normalcy has returned. AFSPA should go is what everyone, all political parties in Jammu and Kashmir believe. Whether the BJP will bite that bullet anytime soon, we'll have to wait and watch on that. But shifting focus now to the other big story that we're tracking here on The Right Stand. It was the Delhi Chief Minister and the Aam Aadmi Party convener Arvind Kejriwal who was called the kingpin and the key conspirator of the Delhi excise policy alleged scam. Remember, this is what the Enforcement Directorate said in court last week. The Aam Aadmi Party since day one has been calling this arrest illegal. They've claimed that the party is being targeted by the ruling government. The ED is merely acting at the behest of the BJP is what they alleged. The Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal's team moved the Delhi High Court challenging this arrest. But today, the Delhi High Court has refused to give any interim relief to the Delhi Chief Minister. The High Court summoned the ED and sought their reply as they feel it will be unfair to pass an order without hearing the other side. So now a date has been set to hear the main petition of Arvind Kejriwal. Remember, this latest setback comes just a day before Arvind Kejriwal is back in court tomorrow. His ED custody ends tomorrow. The hearing will resume on that. Meanwhile, the Delhi High Court will also hear a plea to remove Arvind Kejriwal from the post of the Delhi Chief Minister as well. The BJP has been alleging that this is unconstitutional, the fact that he is running a government from inside jail. They have been asking for him to resign. Now we have a PIL in courts as well. What happened today in the Delhi High Court? CNN News 18 acts as the Delhi High Court order. Let me take you through the key highlights of why Arvind Kejriwal did not get that interim relief. This is what the court observed. This is what the court order said. That the grounds that are raised in Kejriwal's main and his interim plea are similar. That both his main petition and the one seeking interim relief talk about his arrest being illegal and asking for his immediate release. The court also then said that material in possession with the Enforcement Directorate is crucial to decide the present case, which is why the ED must be heard. The Chief Minister's Counsel, they contended that there is no reply that is required on behalf of the respondent, which is the ED in this case. The court said that contention is outrightly rejected. For any fair investigation, for any fair trial, both sides must be heard and the ED must be given their time as well, which is why they now have been given time until the 2nd of April to file their reply, and the next hearing will be on the 3rd. Any release order from custody will amount to enlarging the petitioner on bail or interim bail as an interim measure, is what the court also observed. They said that any order passed for interim relief would then amount to deciding the main petition itself, because that's what the main petition also wants. Now let me take you through what the Enforcement Directorate had claimed in court and what Arvind Kejriwal's team had also said. Now, the ED said that Kejriwal is the kingpin, he is the key conspirator. During the hearing today, Kejriwal's counsel said that the Chief Minister is being charged vicariously. ED said that Kejriwal demanded kickbacks for favours from the South Group, a charge that was outrightly rejected by Kejriwal's legal team, who accused the Enforcement Directorate of unfairness. They called it mala-fide prosecution. The ED said that Kejriwal was named by several accused in this case. Kejriwal's counsel likened such accused who have turned approvers to a Trojan horse. They drew comparisons with infamous Jaychand. They said that it is like betraying Indian rulers by allying with invaders. They have been looked down upon in the past by courts as well. So how can the case entirely rely on just that? The Enforcement Directorate claimed that Kejriwal disobeyed summons. He's been evasive during his grilling as well. Arvind Kejriwal's team said that non-cooperation is the most abused phrase by the probe agency. Did that claim hold water? Unfortunately, no for Arvind Kejriwal, which is why any interim relief was denied. Tomorrow, he is back in court. What happens next? Only the agencies can tell, only the courts can tell us. But can he meanwhile continue to remain the chief minister and run the Delhi government from within jail? Well, the Aam Aadmi Party says yes. The BJP says no, and so does the Delhi Lieutenant Governor. Can the Delhi LG then step in this case, given that Delhi is not a full state? Let me open this up to national spokesperson of the BJP, Sanju Verma, who continues to be with us. Akshay Marathe, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, also with me. Akshay Marathe, let me ask you this. The fact that the court today observed that no interim relief can be given because a similar petition is already there. An interim relief cannot be given when that's exactly what the main petition also is wanting, and which is already being heard before the custody hearing happens tomorrow. Was this just bad legal strategy then?
First of all, I want to start off by reminding viewers that this entire case that is against Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, Manish Sisodia, Sanjay Singh, Vijay Nair is based on the statement of just one individual, Mr. Sarat Chandra Reddy, who has on record through electoral bonds paid the BJP 60 crore rupees of bribe. And after the money was paid, the person who was accused of the corruption scam has become a government approver and a prosecution witness and is supporting the Bharatiya Janata Party in this entire fake investigation that is going on. So point number one, the BJP needs to answer, why did it take money from the scam accused? They are accusing this person and they are taking money from the same person. That is the kind of absolute pit of corruption that the BJP is indulging in, and they are accusing the Aam Aadmi Party of it. Point number two, what happened today in the Delhi High Court is actually the classic enforcement directorate style of delaying tactics, because they knew that they have no case to show. Can you imagine that after 2 years of running an investigation, filing charge sheet after charge sheet after charge sheet, they had the gall to tell the High Court that they want to present fresh evidence against Mr. Kejriwal. They want more time to reply to the petition filed by Mr. Kejriwal. Then what have you been doing for the last 2 years? You have raided us many times. You have investigated many times. Not a single
the time that was being sought by the ED, which was granted by the court, Akshay Marathe, today was to reply to this petition that the Enforcement Directorate hadn't received until yesterday. That is on record, which is also why the court has found no merit in the arguments that Kejriwal's counsel made and said that let me give, for a free and fair trial, let me give time to the Enforcement Directorate, which is the respondent in this case.
Can I read out what the court has said? The
yes,
court
please.
Said in paragraph 15,
let him finish his point, Sanju Verma. I'll come to you.
The court says we question the arrest may be politically motivated and malified. There are serious concerns which have been raised by Mr. Kejriwal's lawyer, Shri Singhvi, and that is why they wanted the Enforcement Directorate to reply to the court's questions. The court has already said that
there may be merits in the facts that you're putting out, which the court also seems to agree with you. But which is why I asked you, was it just bad legal strategy then? But Sanju Verma, yes, go ahead.
Thank you. You know, now I hope Akshay Marathe will not heckle because I listened to him very patiently.
Yes, go ahead.
First and foremost, you know, ulta chor kotwal ko dante. Chori upar se seena jori. The pot calling the kettle black. That is what the Aam Aadmi Party is doing. I repeat, it is not just one Sarat Chandra Reddy who turned an approver. Let me remind the Aam Aadmi Party, and more importantly, your viewers should know, Manish Sisodia ko jail भारतीय जनता पार्टी नरेंद्र मोदी या अमित शाह ने नहीं भेजा. Manish Sisodia is in lockup today thanks to the Supreme Court denying him bail. Satendra Jain is in jail today in the liquor scam thanks to the Supreme Court denying him bail. Sanjay Singh is in jail today not because of Narendra Modi or the BJP, but because the Supreme Court denied bail to Sanjay Singh. The second and important point, they say that in any criminal offense, particularly money laundering, there are three things which are very important. Was there mala-fide intent? Yes. Was there a proceed of crime? Yes. Was there a money trail? Yes. Read the October 2023 judgment by two Supreme Court judges. ये संजू वर्मा ने नहीं कहा, ना नरेंद्र मोदी ने कहा है. Justice Sanjeev Khanna and Justice S.V.N. Bhatti of the Supreme Court said that in the liquor scam perpetrated by Arvind Kejriwal, abetted by Arvind Kejriwal, created by Arvind Kejriwal, encouraged by Arvind Kejriwal, there is a money trail of 338 crores. ये Supreme Court का verdict है. Now coming to the approvals. Was Sarat Chandra Reddy the only approver, Poonam? No. You had Dinesh Arora who turned approver, wide section 306. of the CRPC. You have Amit Arora, who has spoken out against Kejriwal. You have Vijay Nair, the ex-communication head of Aam Aadmi Party, who has spoken out against Kejriwal, Sanjay Singh and Manish Sisodia. You have Arun Ramchandra Pillai and K. Kavita, who've spoken out like canaries against Arvind Kejriwal. You have Sameer Mahendru of Indo-Spirit, one of the key persons in this entire episode, who has also started singing like a canary and said that, mujhse bride mangi gayi, and this was done at Kejriwal's residence in the presence of Kejriwal. And don't forget the deposition by former Excise Commissioner Arva Gopi Krishna and former Deputy Excise Commissioner of Delhi Suresh Gopi and former PA of Manish Sisodia C. Arvind. These people have clearly said liquor scam हुआ था, केजरीवाल जी को इसके बारे में जानकारी थी, मनीष सिसोदिया को जानकारी थी, संजय सिंह को जानकारी थी, and each of these people have personally been given bribes to the tune of 2 to 3 crore each. And the CAG report, last but not the least,
can I respond now?
Now I'm finishing my last point.
She's just about to finish. Let her finish.
The CAG is not a handmaiden of the BJP. Under Part 5 of the Constitution, the CAG is an independent constitutional statutory body, and CAG has said that Kejriwal's liquor scam has resulted in a loss of more than 2,500 crores to Delhi's taxpayers. इसलिए यहाँ बैठकर कट्टर ईमानदार बनने का जो आप ढोंग करते हो, वो ढकोसला, please shed your hypocrisy for a change and accept that you milked the Delhi taxpayers for self-gratification.
Can I respond now?
Go ahead, please.
Not once has the BJP spokesperson answered the question. Why is the kingpin of the scam, Mr. Sharat Chandra Reddy, a major donor of the Bharatiya Janata Party? Why is this person who himself is being accused of paying Aam Aadmi Party only 100 crore rupee bribe is on the record through electoral bonds paying the BJP 60 crore rupees? Can the BJP deny that they have taken money from Sharat Chandra Reddy? What they are accusing Aam Aadmi Party of doing, the BJP has been caught red-handed. And unfortunately, if the electoral bonds disclosure had not happened, we would never have found out. You know, the entire country was being misled by the BJP. They were calling everybody corrupt, but it turned out they are the biggest corrupt of them all. They have taken thousands of crore rupees from people in return from being let go of from ED custody. Now this Sharat Chandra Reddy, when he gave the money, the Enforcement Directorate did not object to his bail. Immediately he got bail on complaints of having lower back pain. Have you ever heard that somebody is let go from jail after complaining of lower back pain? Arvind Kejriwal is a diabetes patient. He has low sugar levels right now. But the BJP and Enforcement Directorate are hell-bent on keeping him in jail. Why? Because they are scared of Arvind Kejriwal.
But the relief that's not coming through, it's coming through courts, Akshay Marathe. It's not the Enforcement Directorate that's blocking it. It's the courts. Which is why my first question to you when I opened this up was, is it your legal strategy that is flawed indeed? Because you seem to have the merits of the case as you claim to do. But unfortunately, you're not convincing the courts about it.
May I come in now, Poonam? He's having a second intervention.
Allow me just
yes, 30 seconds. Yes, 30 seconds, Akshay Marathe. Go ahead.
Section 45 of the PMLA Act, under which Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is in jail, says that you are guilty until proven innocent. This is the exact opposite of what our country has been following.
No, I need to come in. He's had a second intervention.
The BJP has conveniently used a very hard law that was actually meant for terrorism.
The law came during the UPA era, sir. Somebody that you are in alliance with now. But Sanju Verma, yes, go ahead. Yes, Sanju Verma, go ahead.
Section 45 amendment was passed only a few years ago by the BJP.
Poonam, this is not fair.
Sure, but you can't have it. You can't have it all your way. You can't say, yes, the law was brought in by an ally of mine, but it is only being weaponized now. But Sanju Verma, yes, go ahead.
Yes. You know, Poonam, and Akshay, now I did not heckle you. We are having a sensible debate. Poonam, you know, I was reading the Enforcement Directorate's, powers via the PMLA, and it is true. The PMLA Act gives Enforcement Directorate suo motu powers of search, seizure and arrest under Section 17, 18, 19. Section 24 talks about reverse burden of proof, which means jail is not the norm, ideally, but in PMLA cases, jail is the norm and bail is an exception. And then you have Section 45 of the PMLA, which says that money laundering cases are non-cognizable and non-bailable, which means they are cognizable, bailable offences. So has the Enforcement Directorate done anything which is outside the powers that have been granted to it Why section 18, 19, 20, 21, 45? No. Ideally, Poonam, if you, me, or even Akshay, we were to not appear before the ED after 3 summons, the Enforcement Directorate can suo moto arrest us. But because Arvind Kejriwal is who he is, a sitting chief minister, the ED actually gave him a long rope. 9 summons were brazenly defied, repeatedly, blatantly. Kejriwal को लगा, if I brazen it out, nothing is going to happen to me. But जो कहते हैं ना, कानून के हाथ बहुत लंबे होते हैं, and the law caught up with Kejriwal. Now coming to your pointed query, Akshay, about Sarath Chandra Reddy. Let this be known on your show, Poonam. I have spoken about this on a zillion debates in the last 48 hours. Sarath Chandra Reddy having turned an approver does not mean that the ongoing investigation against Sarath Chandra Reddy has been suspended by the BJP or the Modi government or the ED, which is what is being peddled. Because don't forget that once you turn an approver, there is no guarantee that your sentence will be commuted. Because in effect, you have actually admitted that yes, you were a perpetrator, a part of the liquor scam syndicate, and section 195 of the IPC, section 308 of the CRPC, and section 340 of the CRPC say that no approver has a blanket right to his sentence being commuted. So आप जो यहाँ बैठकर कहते हो ना that we are mollycoddling Sarath Chandra Reddy, please go and educate yourself in the basics of IPC and CRPC. And last but not the least, you are saying that Sarath Chandra Reddy gave money to the BJP and hence we allowed him to turn approver and we overlooked whatever he had to say. By your logic, Akshay Marathi, the income tax raided Megha Engineering and its 3 subsidiaries in 2019. The income tax and the enforcement directorate raided Santiago Martin's future gain in 2020 and 2021. But guess what? The biggest beneficiaries of Santiago Martin's future gaining are the TMC and the DMK. The biggest beneficiaries of the largest of Megha Engineering are the Congress Party, the DMK and the TMC, all who are a part of the dot alliance. यदि सबको बीजेपी से इतना ही डर लगता, why did Megha Engineering not give money to BJP? Why did Santiago Martin's future gaming not give money to BJP? Why is it that you only
we've heard
gave money to BJP?
Okay, Saju Verma, we've heard your counter to what Akshay Marathi has been saying, the allegations of why these approvers can't be trusted with, and that is the argument that Kejriwal's counsel made in court today as well, that you cannot base this entire case on just approvers. They're not looked at with great respect in legal history is also an argument that was made in court. Fair enough. That may be the arguments that were made in court. Arvind Kejriwal is going to be back in courts tomorrow. But what happens until then, as far as the Delhi government and the people of Delhi are concerned, Akshay Marathi? The Aam Aadmi Party says the CM will continue. The CM will continue to work from jail. But sure, legally maybe there's nothing.
One accusation.
Unfortunately,
the enforcement directorate. Just give me one moment. The enforcement directorate, she says, gave Kejriwal a long rope. But this long rope became extremely long when it came to people like Ajit Pawar, Chhagan Bhujbal, Himanta Biswa Sharma, against whom the cases were completely dropped when they joined the BJP. So the credibility of the enforcement directorate is extremely suspect.
Okay, sure, and you're well within your rights if you want to raise questions about the credibility of any agency. Fair enough, but you can't just skip a summons saying it's illegal, which is why I will not appear before the agency. That's not a luxury you and I as the common citizen of the country will have.
We are fighting this battle in court. We have challenged the validity of the enforcement directorate's actions. We have never once been told by a court that what we did was incorrect. In fact, the court actually asked the enforcement directorate. When we said that the summons are illegal, the court asked the enforcement directorate to explain why do they need to
and it was the same court, Akshay Marathi, that denied any release to Arvind Kejriwal from arrest, after which the enforcement director arrested him.
Why is Kejriwal in lockup?
But coming back, but Akshay Marathi, Sanjay Verma, give me a second. Akshay Marathi, coming back to the question that I was asking you. We have the Chief Minister who says, I'm working from inside jail and I will continue to do so. The Aam Aadmi Party is not looking for a successor. They do not want to look for one because they say this is how the government will function. Is this a feasible model? Is it morally right for Arvind Kejriwal to be doing this?
it is morally wrong for BJP to arrest a sitting chief minister
look
who
at
has been
this,
voted
Poonam.
by
The
55%.
BJP hasn't made the arrest, or the enforcement directorate has, after a court order which said there is nothing stopping them from making that arrest.
केजरीवाल के बारे में
Enforcement
बात करो,
directorate and
बीजेपी
BJP
के
is the
बारे में
same
बात
entity.
मत
There is
करो.
no difference between the two. The BJP and
Who
the
is the
enforcement
Delhi
directorate is the
CM?
same entity. There is no difference between the two.
Is
And
anybody
let
from
me finish my
BJP
point.
at the
Let
helm
me
of
finish my
affairs in
point.
Delhi?
He has not.
The Delhi
Look,
CM is Kejriwal.
Yes, Akshay Marathe, 30 seconds.
Varna.
Akshay Marathe, I have only 30 seconds left on this debate. Make your point, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you
Mr.
know, he's been
Kejriwal has not
speaking
been made an accused in
on
this
and
case.
on.
No charge sheet has been filed against him. He has not been convicted. Not a single
I
day
need
of
my
trial has
15
occurred.
seconds now.
So tomorrow
I've
the
heard
BJP
Akshay.
will arrest any chief minister in the
Poonam.
country and say, okay, now you must
Poonam,
resign
I've
because you have
heard
been arrested.
Akshay.
The enforcement directorate arrested
He has
him
not-
after the
there
court
is-
said he will not get any protection
Akshay
from
Marathe,
arrest.
stop
But Sanju
playing the
Verma, yes,
victim
10
card.
seconds.
Not
10
doing
seconds,
that
that's all I have.
guilty.
Now-
Sanju Verma, 10 seconds.
Akshay, please keep quiet. Poonam, I just have this to say. अजीत पवार, हिमंत बिस्वा शर्मा, नारायण राणे के खिलाफ यदि आपके पास प्रूफ है, प्रमाण है, go and knock on the doors of the Supreme Court. Sitting every evening on TV debates, मैं विक्टिम हूँ, केजरीवाल विक्टिम है, सिसोदिया विक्टिम है, संजय सिंह विक्टिम है. ये विक्टिम कार्ड खेलना बंद करो. People are tired of Kejriwal's nautanki and antics. You better get
And
that
the people
message
will,
loud and
and the
clear.
people will decide which narrative wins. This is about probity. This is also about optics. Elections are just around the corner. The opposition says all of this is time to elections. Well, we'll find out sooner than later. But it has to be about probity. It has to be about politicians, elected representatives especially, of being above board, of wanting to offer themselves for scrutiny much more than anybody else would. On that note, I want to thank both of you for joining us here on this broadcast. That's all the time that I have. It's time for a quick break on this edition. Back in just a few minutes.
Co-powered by. At this point, as the Admiral said, we're going away from the search and rescue portion to a recovery operation. The changing conditions out there have made it dangerous for the first responders, the divers in the water. We will still have surface ships out overnight. At 0600 hours tomorrow, we're hoping to put divers in the water and begin a more detailed search to do our very best to recover those 6 missing people. We're doing our very best in some very difficult times and difficult conditions, which is why we're making that transition now. The last thing we want to do is put divers in the water with changing currents, low temperatures, very poor visibility, and so much metal and other unknown objects in the water. All it takes is one object to strike an individual, and all of a sudden we have a first responder trying to recover another first responder. I think at 0600 we'll find ourselves in a better position to understand the dynamics of what we're dealing with and to address the issue in a much safer manner.
Thank you for staying with us. It's election season and CNN News 18 is travelling the length and breadth of this country, speaking to the stakeholders ahead of the big fight. Aman Sharma spoke to actor Arvind Kejriwal, who's been fielded by the BJP from Meerut. He says he's determined to put his best foot forward. He's confident of victory. Listen in.
That Meerut was known as Ravan's Sasural because Ravan's wife, Mandodri, belonged to Meerut. Well, the people of Meerut now say कि Meerut में राम आ गए हैं. As you can see on the stage, there is Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, the BJP's surprise candidate from the Meerut constituency. You can see Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath also alongside him, and on his left side is Rajendra Agarwal, the sitting MP of the BJP, who's made this smooth transition for Mr. Arvind Kejriwal to contest from here. And Arvind Kejriwal has been here only for a few days in Meerut. But wherever you go, you see people, men, women, children, trying to touch Mr. Arvind Kejriwal's feet, trying to take his blessings, because people believe he is like Lord Ram has come to Meerut. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal played the role of Lord Ram in the iconic serial Ramayana. He is born in Meerut. He studied in Meerut. And now Mr. Arvind Kejriwal says he is back to his roots. अरुण जी, मेरठ में जहाँ भी जाएं, अभी योगी जी का सम्मेलन भी चल रहा था, लोग कहते हैं कि भगवान राम मेरठ आ गए हैं.
भगवान राम तो पूरे विश्व में है, कण कण में है विश्व में. उनका आना जाना नहीं होता कहीं, वो सब जगह होते हैं, हर पल होते हैं वहाँ पर. हाँ, एक व्यक्ति यहाँ ज़रूर आया है जिसने भगवान राम का अभिनय किया था, उनका चरित्र जिया था, उसका नाम अरुण कejriwal है, वो ज़रूर आ गया है यहाँ.
अरुण जी, आप मेरठ में ही पैदा, कई लोग नहीं जानते थे कि आप मेरठ में ही पैदा हुए, मेरठ में ही पढ़े. थोड़ा सा उसके बारे में बताएंगे, लोग शायद कम जानते हैं इस बात को.
हाँ, नहीं, मैं मेरठ में पैदा हुआ. मेरे जीवन के पहले 17 साल तो मेरठ के हैं बिल्कुल कंटिन्यूअसली. मैं पहले सरस्वती शिशु मंदिर में पढ़ा था, उसके बाद मैं गवर्नमेंट इंटर कॉलेज में था.
अरुण जी, राजनीति में कदम क्यों?
नहीं, मैं पहली बात तो ये कि इसको आप राजनीति कह सकते हैं, सो कॉल्ड राजनीति, पर मैं राजनीति मुझे आती नहीं, ना मैं करूँगा. मैं तो ये समझ लीजिए कि भाई एक मन में आया कि मुझे कुछ करना चाहिए, तो मैं करना चाहिए, तो उसके लिए मुझे मेरठ मिल गया. तो मेरठ से अच्छी कौन सी जगह होगी. मतलब ऐसा लगता है कि जैसे माँ की ममता मुझे यहाँ खींच लाई है, तो मैं कुछ करूँगा जो मैं कर सकता हूँ, जो मेरे अंदर जो प्यार है, जो संवेदनशीलता है, जो बातें मुझे अच्छी लगती हैं.
अरुण जी, कल आप जब मंदिर